There are many people that don't understand very well what Reformed experiential preaching is. The word experiential or experimental were household words for Christians in the 16th, 17th, 18th century. But as experiential preaching faded away, it hasn't been so common anymore. So maybe the best way I can explain it is to give you an illustration. When I was in the Army, the last day I was released, I had to come back for 6.5 more years of meetings and so on. And so my boss came to me and said this. He said, remember, if you get called up and you have to come back into the Army, there's 3 things you need to remember. Number 1, you need to remember how wars should go if you get called into a war. You've been trained in it. You've got to follow the rules. Remember how wars should go. So be idealistic. And number 2, you should be realistic. Wars never go the way they should go. They're bloody, they're messy, and so on. And then number 3, be optimistic. Remember, the end goal is you're fighting for your country and for peace. And later I thought, that's exactly what we mean by experiential preaching. He was giving me an experiential view of warfare. But in preaching, I need to tell people how the Christian life should go. The ideal of Romans 8, with all the work of the Spirit and no separation and no condemnation and the peace and the love that will never separate me from Christ and all the solid joys of the Christian life. I need to tell them how it should go. But I also need to tell them how it does go. It's bloody, it's messy, it's a striving against sin. It's Romans 7. It's the wrestling, the tug of war against the old nature. Oh, wretched man that I am. And then I need to preach to them the optimism of the end goal. The end goal is I'm living to the glory of God, and I'm going to be in heaven with Jesus as perfect as he is one day, forever in glory. That's my real home. I'm just a renter here. And so experiential preaching, I like to say, has 3 goals. It tells you how things ought to go, how things do go, and what your end goal is. Now, as it does that, experiential preaching is like a trunk that has 2 big branches. One branch we call application. It applies the word to your own experience, to your own daily life, to your hopes, your fears, your joys, your sorrows. And the other branch is what we call discrimination in a positive sense, discriminatory preaching, where you separate the precious from the vile, the saved from the unsaved, by preaching the marks and the fruits and the steps of grace, so that the unbeliever realizes he's missing that kind of genuine experiential relationship with Christ and the experience of the Christian life. So those 2 things, how it does go, ought to go, and should go, and then remember it's discriminatory and it's applicable.